He was warm, attentive, present, the kind of man who made you believe something real was finally blooming. But suddenly, he changed. The messages slowed down, the warmth faded, and now you're left staring at your screen, wondering, what did I do wrong? You replay the last conversation, second-guess your every word, and deep inside, a quiet ache whispers, did he ever really care? But here's the truth. When men pull away after getting close, it often has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what's happening inside him. As a psychologist who has spent years studying human behavior and relationships, I invite you to look deeper, because sometimes pulling away is not rejection, it's a silent cry from a man who's terrified to stay. Chapter 1. Fear of Vulnerability. You see, emotional closeness isn't just sweet. It's dangerous to someone who's been taught that vulnerability equals weakness. From a young age, many men are conditioned to hide their feelings. Man up. Don't cry. Be strong. Those messages don't disappear when he falls for you. In fact, falling for you might trigger the very fear he's tried to bury. Because getting close to someone means exposing your heart. And for some men, that feels like handing over a loaded weapon. Even if you're the most loving woman in the world, his brain might whisper, what if she leaves? What if I'm not enough? What if she sees the real me and walks away? So instead of leaning in, he steps back. Not because you're wrong for him, but because intimacy demands courage he may not have yet, and fear will always try to run before love can settle in. Chapter 2. The Commitment Switch. There's a moment in every growing connection where things shift. A joke becomes more personal, a look lingers longer, and suddenly he realizes, this isn't casual anymore. This is real. And that's where something I call the commitment switch flips inside his mind. It's not always logical, but it's very real. Until now, he's been enjoying the closeness, the comfort, the chemistry, the connection. But once emotional investment becomes obvious, his subconscious starts scanning for risk. Am I ready for this? Do I have to give up my freedom? What if this becomes routine? Or worse, what if I fail her? These thoughts aren't always spoken, but they flood his nervous system like a warning alarm. And when that happens, many men don't communicate their fear. They retreat. Not because they don't feel something for you, but because the weight of what's forming starts to scare them more than the joy of what's already there. The commitment switch isn't about you being too much. It's about him realizing that love comes with responsibility. Chapter 3. He's fighting internal battles you can't see. Sometimes the pullback has nothing to do with the relationship. No argument, no mistake, no reason you can find. And yet, he still becomes distant. Why? Because inside him, a war is quietly raging. It could be financial pressure, career confusion, family obligations, or even a deep sense of failure he hasn't voiced. Men are often taught to process pain in silence, to be the anchor, even when they're drowning. So when life feels overwhelming, some men don't lean on the woman they love. They pull away from her, hoping to fix themselves alone. And tragically, you might interpret this as rejection, when in reality, it's his way of protecting you from the chaos inside him. But here's the heartbreaking truth. You can't fight a battle you don't even know he's in. And he might not let you in, not because he doesn't trust you, but because he doesn't trust himself enough to fall apart in front of you. So he retreats into silence, into space, into solitude, not to abandon the love, but to survive his own storm. Chapter 4. He's afraid of losing himself in you. To love deeply is to surrender. But for some men, surrender feels like losing control. especially if he spent years building his independence, his routine, his identity. Getting close to someone romantically can feel like his world is shifting without permission. Suddenly, it's not just his weekend, it's your plans, it's your feelings, it's our future. And as beautiful as that may sound to someone who craves connection, to him it might feel like he's disappearing. It's not about ego. It's about a deep-rooted fear that loving you too much means losing himself in the process. He may start pulling away, not because you're too clingy or emotional, but because the intimacy is moving faster than his inner self can keep up. He may crave you, adore you, even miss you, but still distance himself just to breathe. Because for a man who's never learned to balance love and autonomy, the closer he gets, the more he fears he'll stop being him. And it's not until he feels safe to be fully himself and fully with you that he can truly stay. Chapter 5. Emotional Delays in the Male Brain. Here's something psychology teaches us. Men and women often process emotions on different timelines. It's not that men feel less, it's that many of them feel things later. You might already be emotionally connected, imagining a shared future, while he's still catching up to the reality of what he's feeling. Why? Because many men are raised to analyze, to act, to solve, not to feel. So when deep emotions rise, like love, vulnerability, fear, or attachment, their brains don't always register them in real time. Instead of leaning into the emotion, some men go into mental retreat. Let me think about this. Let me figure this out alone. But in relationships, emotional delay can feel like emotional disconnection. You're pouring in your heart while he's trying to make sense of his. And that's when he might distance himself, not because he doesn't care, but because his brain is still decoding the depth of what just happened. It doesn't mean he won't come back, but it means that if you pressure him while he's emotionally delayed, he may pull away even further, not to hurt you, but to buy time for his heart to finally catch up. Chapter 6. The Ghosts of His Past. Every man carries a story, even if he never tells it, a heartbreak that left him numb, a betrayal that shattered his ability to trust, or maybe a childhood where love was conditional, distant, or painfully absent. When a man starts falling for you, deeply, genuinely, those buried wounds begin to stir. Not because you hurt him, but because you remind him how vulnerable love can feel. And just when things begin to feel good, safe, real, that's when fear creeps in. The fear of being left again, the fear of not being good enough, the fear that history will repeat itself. So instead of leaning in, he shuts down. He distances himself before you have the chance to change your mind. It's his way of saying, I've been here before, and it almost destroyed me. What you're feeling as confusion or rejection might simply be a man haunted by unhealed memories. He doesn't know how to tell you that your kindness is scary, that your love feels too good to be true, because deep down, his past keeps whispering, don't trust it, protect yourself. So he pulls away, not to let go of you, but to shield himself from the very thing he craves most. Chapter 7. He thinks he's not enough for you. Sometimes when a man pulls away, it has nothing to do with how much he loves you, and everything to do with how he sees himself. To you, he might seem strong, capable, even confident, but inside there could be a voice whispering, I'm not good enough for her. Maybe you're emotionally open, expressive, full of life, and he feels like he can't match your depth. Maybe you're successful, self-aware, or independent, and it triggers his fear of not measuring up. Men are often taught that they must provide, protect, lead. So when they feel they're falling short in any of those roles, they don't always communicate it. They retreat, not because they want to leave you, but because being with you exposes their hidden self-doubt. To love someone who makes them feel seen and wanted can actually be overwhelming when they don't love themselves. He may start thinking, what if she realizes I'm not as strong as she thinks? What if I disappoint her? What if she finds someone better? So before you can reject him, he rejects himself first. Pulling away becomes a silent shield, not from you, but from the fear that he will never be enough for the love you offer. Final message: what should you do? Understanding why men pull away after getting close can feel confusing and painful. But remember, his distance often says more about him than it does about you. It's rarely a reflection of your worth or love. So what should you do when he starts to pull away? First, pause. Don't rush to blame yourself or chase after him desperately. Give yourself the grace to feel your emotions without judgment. Second, create space. Sometimes the best way to heal a connection is by giving it room to breathe. Let him process his feelings without pressure and focus on your own growth, your own joy. Third, communicate gently. When the time feels right, talk openly about your feelings, but avoid demands or ultimatums. Invite honesty, not fear. Finally, protect your heart. Love is a beautiful risk, but it should never cost your self-respect or peace of mind. If he chooses to come back, welcome him with an open but cautious heart. If he doesn't, know that your story is far from over, and the right love will stay, cherish, and grow with you. You deserve a love that doesn't pull away, but draws you closer every day. Thank you for watching and taking the time to understand this complex part of relationships. If you've experienced someone pulling away after getting close, remember, you're not alone. Feel free to share your story or thoughts in the comments below. Let's support each other on this journey. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our future insights into love and psychology. Remember, every relationship teaches us something, and every ending opens the door to a new beginning. Take care of yourself, and until next time, stay kind to your heart.